virtual summit. It's wide format day. We're talking all things wide format, and I am joined by Phil McMullin, who is Large Format Print UK Sales Manager at Epson, and we are here at Epson UK HQ. Epson's had some really exciting news recently, so Phil, if I could hand over to you to talk a little bit about that.
Hi Karis, great to see you again. Yeah, it's been a really exciting time. It's an interesting world out there, but we're trying to carry on as best as possible. We've had a lot of products scheduled for launch at the big shows that were going to happen during 2020 and sadly have gone by the wayside, but it hasn't stopped our R&D team working overtime, and manufacturing is ramping up for two key products that we announced last week, and it really takes us into new places in the signage arena. So a lot of commercial printers will obviously be looking at how they can future-proof their business, how they can lock in incremental revenue growth and make sure it's profitable. That's the key thing. You know, everybody's chasing profit, and large format or wide format seen as a great area to go. And anybody who stepped outside their door recently will see that COVID signage has been one area that has been a good area to be in. So what we've launched at Epson recently on a global basis is two new products. One is a resin inkset roll-to-roll 64-inch printer, and the other is our first venture into UV flatbed printing. So two different applications, and one of the things we're going to talk about a little bit more today is the potentially confusing puzzle that is all of the wide format ink sets. People will be familiar with aqueous, people familiar with eco-solvent, but you've also got dye sublimation, you've got DTG or direct to garment ink, you've got DTF, direct to fabric ink, and now from Epson you've got resin and UV. So we believe, as it stands at the moment, we're the only big manufacturer that has the full house, if you like, of all those different ink sets, and critically then able to address all the different applications that are addressed by those different ink sets. So we'll cover that in a little bit more detail. In terms of the resin printer then, clearly there's been other resin printers out in the market for some time. Our products, we believe, takes the technology a step further. As you would expect from Epson, the first benchmarking we've done is on image quality. Most people will see the Epson brand as offering the ultimate quality and critically the consistency of replicating that quality on a day-to-day and a week-to-week basis. So a lot of great things we put into our engineers and designers and chemists have put into that product to deliver something that we feel will move the game on. Likewise on the UV flatbed, clearly there's a lot of choice out there on the UV flatbed side as well. Again, from an Epson perspective, we're looking at setting the quality benchmark at a very affordable price, enabling the end customer to replicate that quality on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, and get the kind of reliability and durability you would expect from an Epson device, again moving that UV game on to the next level.
Wonderful. So really exciting new launches, new areas. Maybe we could talk a little bit more about the resin printer and then how you came to move into that area and why it's a differentiator in the space.
Sure. We spend a lot of time, our engineers spend a lot of time visiting our value-added partners, visiting end users, taking copious notes back to Japan about what are the good things they see in the current technology, what's lacking, and what would they like to see in future generations. So the engineers and designers, they go back to Japan, they work together. The guy that develops the print head sits next to the guy that develops the actual printer chassis, sits next to the lady who's the ink chemist. So they're all working together to get to the ultimate product, if you like. If we look at the resin product, we picked up a lot of information from the market over the last few years about some of the limitations, shall we say, of the existing technology from some of the other manufacturers, and we're looking to eradicate some of those problems and bring the Epson stamp of quality and reliability to the resin application. Resin has a lot of great attributes. It's fantastic for vehicle wrapping. If you can laminate pretty much straight away, so you've got your vehicle in the production bay, time is money. You need to get that back on the road as soon as possible. So if you're using a resin printer from Epson, you can print, you can laminate, put it onto the vehicle the same day, and the vehicle's gone. And then you can charge the customer straight away, and the customer's going to be very happy. The graphic's going to stay on that vehicle for the length of time that the media is specified for. So that's the first thing we're looking at is overcoming some of those technology challenges that have existed in the resin inkset and give you same day application and lamination. The next area that we've looked at is the amount of heat that you need to cure the resin-based ink. So water-based ink is odorless, it's extremely safe, it's got all the Green Guard certification, so it's fantastic for children's hospitals or anywhere that people are going to come into contact with the finished application, wallpapers for instance. So the ability to print onto a wide variety of wallpapers or decors is critically important for a lot of customers. And what we've seen in some of the other technology is the amount of heat needed to evaporate the water from the inkset is somewhere around 100 degrees. And what that does is potentially deform some of the heat-sensitive media, so it stretches and is no longer holding its shape properly. And that's problematic when you go on site. You can imagine putting in several drops and finding that the image doesn't quite line up because the media has been deformed due to the heat. So what we've done at Epson, what the engineers and designers in Japan have done is create a printer that uses 3 separate platens, so we can control the heat in each of those 3 platens, and we can use a lower heat, typically somewhere around between 40 and 60 degrees centigrade as opposed to 100, which means that you can put your heat-sensitive media through the machine without fear of deformation of that media and therefore losing the shape of the image. And if you combine that with the feeding technology that we have successfully run in the market for the last 4 years with our eco-solvent roll-to-roll, we're taking that extremely reliable, consistent and robust feeding system that enables the media to feed through. So what you're looking at is a long-running, unattended operation. So for instance, overnight running, everybody's trying to squeeze more productivity out of their existing equipment. If you've got a piece of equipment and you're only running it 8 hours a day, you've got a set amount of revenue you can generate. If you can run that 24 hours a day, overnight unattended, then you've got a lot more revenue that you can generate and profit critically for your business. So we're looking at that incredibly reliable feeding system that is already proven in the market from our eco-solvent products. The S8600 in particular is the world's best-selling 64-inch eco-solvent printer, actually of any inkset on a global basis. So it is proven in the marketplace. If you combine that with the bulk ink option that we are now also launching on the resin product, we've moved away from cartridges. So from a eco-friendly point of view, you've got a lot less plastic to recycle. You're looking at ink pouches. Those ink pouches are now 1.5 litres as opposed to 700 mil, so you've got twice as much ink in each pouch. And if you really do need to run 24 hours a day and squeeze that extra productivity, you can go for the super bulk ink version. It's a very non-technical term, but we go for the super bulk ink version where you're getting 2 sets of each colour, so a total of 3 litres per colour, which is hot swappable. So if you do find that you're running out of ink in one of the towers, you simply replace it. The machine doesn't stop. It's all about maximising that profitability. So to kind of summarise on the resin printer, it's about giving very high image quality, repeatable, great scratch resistance. We've got the light cyan and light magentas to give you the improved shading on things like skin tones. We then combine that with the incredible flexibility, the wide array of media because of the low temperatures, and then you've got the very reliable feeding system. So we think it's a very compelling package that we've wrapped up, and it's all got the Epson stamp on it.
Fantastic. And that kind of staying on that that ink topic, you know, the ink sets now available. You've broadened that portfolio with these recent launches, and you know, what benefits does that offer now? Epson has that kind of all-encompassing portfolio of inks. What benefit does that give to your customers?
That's a really good question. A lot of commercial printers will know Epson from our proofing devices. So anybody who's running a Heidelberg or a Mitsubishi will need to proof before they do the big long run, and typically that will have been done on an Epson device because the quality is the best possible image quality you can get, and it's fully repeatable from one print to the next, one day to the next. So Epson quality is the benchmark. Over the years, what we've discovered is the print head technology we use, which is the piezo print head, is very reliable and is able to actually feed a lot of different ink sets, not just the water-based or aqueous ink sets. And that's because it doesn't use any heat. It's not a thermal print head. It's a crystal that we put a charge through and it pulses, and that's what forces the ink out of the nozzle. So there's no degradation of that nozzle over time, and that's why we can have this repeatability of image quality, because the nozzle is performing in the same way through the life of the printer. The other amazing benefit that we found over the years in Japan with all the R&D that we do is that not only can we feed an aqueous ink through there, but we can also feed an eco-solvent ink through it, we can feed a dye sublimation ink through it, DTG or direct-to-garment ink. There's a whole fleet of direct-to-fabric or DTF inks that we can also put through there. Plus now we've got the resin and the UV inks as well. Now, so the benefit to a commercial printer, let's say, is that if they feel comfortable with the Epson brand and they've had experience with the Epson brand in the proofing environment and they've seen this repeatable high quality coming out of their Epson proofing device, they know that they can get that from the other devices that we manufacture and we sell into the market. So to give you an example, if we look at the eco-solvent devices that we do, obviously they are designed for outdoor applications. So you're looking at signage, you're looking at vehicle graphics, you're looking at billboards, any application where it's going to be subject to UV light. So that might even be interior wallpaper next to a window, for instance, where the UV light's going to come in. So that is a UV resistant pigment, and we're using the eco-solvent technology. It's all very safe, Green Guard certified. There's no carcinogens or any nasties in that ink. It's perfectly safe for use. And that ink set is incredibly flexible. You can print onto a huge array of medias that are out there from all the big manufacturers and some of the more niche manufacturers as well. But they do have to be designed for eco-solvent ink. You know, there is no limit to what's available. But if you want to print onto uncoated medias and you're more going down the route of papers, we talked about wallpapers already, then the resin ink set is probably more suitable for that kind of application. And I already touched on the instant or the immediate lamination for vehicle graphics as well. So it is horses for courses really, and it will be a matter of individual preference as to whether you prefer historically eco-solvent or whether you prefer a resin-based ink. But there will be some clear differentials as well on those applications. If you look at the other area of growth over the last 6 months particularly, we've seen the personalisation trend gain even more ground. It was pretty prevalent before COVID, and now we've seen a huge acceleration of that. Face masks being a great recent example of that. So if your work is going to be primarily around textiles as opposed to vehicles or signage or wallpapers, then the dye sublimation ink set is really the one that you should be looking at, because the beauty of the dye sublimation ink is that you can't feel the ink. It becomes chemically part of the material, so it's not, there's no hand to it, you can't feel it. So whatever the characteristics of the textile that you selected, that will continue even when you print it onto it. So designers in the fast fashion industry love it because of that flexibility. Other areas you could be looking at if you're providing workplace garments for your end customers, DTG or direct-to-garment ink may be more suitable because a lot of people prefer a natural fabric like cotton. Dye sublimation doesn't work with natural fabrics, it only works with man-made fabrics such as polyester. So if your customer needs cotton garments or cotton tote bags or anything that is a natural fabric, you need to go down the DTG or direct-to-garment route. The great news for anybody who likes the Epson brand is we have direct-to-garment products as well. DTF is a completely different market, and I say probably is not something that most commercial printers would look at because we're talking, unlike the other technology, which we're talking sub 20k investment, we're talking more than 200k investment to really get into the DTF or direct-to-fabric environment. But we have 4 or 5 different inks for those applications as well. The other area that we've just touched on and was one of the products we launched last week is the UV ink set, and again we're using that piezo crystal print head. It uses no heat. It performs as well on day 500 as it did on day 1 because it's not getting stressed, it's not heating, expanding and contracting. So again, we're talking about consistent image quality, incredible reliability, and with the 10 colour ink set we've now got, which includes spot red, spot white and a varnish, as well as light cyan, light magenta and light grey, you've got that Epson print quality that everybody's used to. Clearly UV application is about printing onto rigid media, so rather than potentially printing onto a self-adhesive vinyl, sticking onto the rigid media, you're doing that in one step. So it does have environmental advantages from that point of view. But again, UV is not for everybody. It is slightly more difficult to handle, and it has its fans. Other people would tend to prefer to go down one of the other ink sets. So I guess what we're offering really, and to summarise, we're looking at giving customers choice. If you like the Epson brand and you want to work with us, we can offer you all of the different ink sets depending on your applications. We ourselves and our value-add partners can talk you through those applications, push you in the right directions to which ink set is going to give you the best flexibility and the widest range of applications for the kind of market that you are in. So I guess the answer is yes. What's the question?
And that's it. And it's great to, hearing you talk about all the different options. There's many different solutions to different ways of working, different markets, and to have them under one roof and having that guidance from one partner is really, really valuable. And so, it's the era of COVID.
Yes.
There's, it's a difficult time. Many businesses are looking to explore different revenue streams, go into different markets. Commercial printers might be looking at, their kind of first foray into wide format, into signage applications. And you've got all the solutions that they can come and talk to you about. So maybe we could talk a bit about what they might need to know and how Epson can help them get there with getting into these new markets.
Yeah, absolutely. The great news, if you are a commercial printer and you're making your first step, is that probably you know the most difficult things that you need to know already, and that's about colour and how do you manage colour and make sure that's consistent, and about design. The best prints that you get out there are a result of some very clever and innovative design. So without those two elements, you're not going to be producing the best signage or the best textile or the best finished product in the world, because it is really the messaging that you're trying to get across in conjunction with your end customer. So I would thoroughly encourage commercial printers to be positive about it, that the difficult areas you've already got that under your belt, and it really is only another output device. You've got your offset press, you've got your proofing device, you may have other areas. So wide format is just another output device. However, when you do choose that output device, you're looking to then realize the design concept that you came up with your end customer, and make sure your end customer is absolutely satisfied with what you produced and is going to come back to you for more opportunities. So obviously you talk to our value add partners out there. We've got a lot of different partners in different areas. Some of them will cover all the areas, some will specialize particularly in die sublimation, for instance, because you can get quite technical if you want to really go into that area, specialize in it. If all you want to do is produce a shirt like I've got here, which is an Epson die sublimation printed shirt, then for less than £2,500 you can buy a Shawcolour F500 24-inch Epson die sub, a heat press, and you can be doing personalised polyester polo shirts for your customer almost immediately. So there's a lot of smoke and mirrors around it, but actually if you choose the right partner, you choose the right ink set, and you choose the right manufacturer of the components, then it's a relatively painless journey that you're going to make. You've got the difficult knowledge and working practice under your belt, and just view it as another output device if you make the right choices. And we're here to help you make those right choices. In a normal environment, I would say come and see us at one of the trade shows. We're always at the big trade shows. Hopefully it won't be too long before we're back at those events. We're all looking forward to that. But we're still very happy to welcome guests to the Epson offices like we're welcoming you today. It's a very safe COVID environment. We've gone to great lengths to make sure the health and safety is spot on, and that we are absolutely minimising the risk as much as possible. So if you are a commercial printer and you'd like to come to Epson HQ, get in touch with myself or any of the members of my team. We're more than happy in a very safe environment to talk you through all of the applications, all the different ink sets, demystify it as much as possible, and then just point you in the right direction of one of our value-added partners who will then take you by the hand and deliver an application set that will deliver you long-term incremental revenue and critically incremental profit.
Fantastic, and I can confirm it's a very safe COVID environment. So yeah, as Phil says, do take advantage of that if you can. And we're running out of time for this session, but it'd be great to kind of finish on a bit of a customer focus. You know, from the recent launch news, you know, one of the things Epson said was it was a result of listening to the customers. Maybe talk a little bit about that and how you kind of work with customers to inform where you're going and where Epson is moving forward.
Yeah, sure. So, as I mentioned, we have a big R&D team in Japan. As a business, across all of our different business sectors, we spend $1.5 million per day on R&D. So there's a massive investment. We're a technology company. Clearly, we're only as good as our technology is in the future if we plan to survive. And we plan to be here a long time. So, but we also take a different approach to some manufacturers of producing something in the lab and then wondering how we're actually going to sell that product or device or software that we produce. We go at a completely different from a completely different direction, and that is going out into the field globally, not just in the UK but across Europe, the Far East and Americas, talking to people who understand the market. So that's our value-added retailers, but critically it's the customers who are at the sharp end, who are living and breathing the current technology, are aware of its strengths, its limitations, and have an idea of where they want to be going in the future. So our experts will do that. They'll engage face to face. As I said, our Japanese colleagues will go out with a stack of notebooks, and they go back to Japan with those notebooks full of notes, and then they'll digest that information, and then they'll start to work. Once they produce something that they feel is worth sharing, they'll then come back to the countries, usually with an alpha or a beta test product, we have quite a large group of customers we've been working with for some time who will take these products, they'll test them in the real environment for us, put them through their paces, throw everything they can at them, and then they'll feed back to us and tell us what they liked, what needed to be improved. Goes back to Japan, they work on it some more, they'll come back with another product, and then ultimately we'll have a finished solution that we'll then bring to market, which incorporates all of that feedback from all around the world into that product, and then we hope will address most of the issues that are out. And that's what we've seen from our new UV product that we've launched, from our new resin product. People will rightly say, you're a bit late to the party, Epson. There are other products using that technology already. And we readily admit that. What we've done is we looked at where they have limitations, we've improved on them, and we've delivered, we believe, solutions that will take it to the next level. So, but don't take my word for it. As I said, you're welcome to come here, put the technology through its paces, and make your own mind up.
Fantastic, and yeah, it's so important to keep your finger on the pulse of what the customers want and what they're doing with the technology. Thank you so much, Phil, for joining me and inviting me here to the UK HQ of Epson. It's been fantastic to talk to you about the new technology and the exciting direction that Epson's going in. So thanks again.
Thanks for coming, Karis. Thanks for listening.
And thank you to everyone that has support this session on the Future Print Virtual Summit, and stick with us. There's a lot of great content coming up. So thank you all for watching.